Hey, what's up? Yin here, and I'm back with another review video. And today let's talk about this. This is the SIMGOT EA1000. I think a lot of you is anticipating my review for this IEM, and here it is. Okay, now I already unboxed it, so if you haven't watched my unboxing video, I'll leave a link somewhere up here, somewhere in this corner here, so you guys can go check it out. But in this video, I'm just gonna talk about what I think of this IEM. Now, a quick recap before I begin my review. This comes with a 10mm dynamic driver and one passive radiator, and also it comes with tuning nozzles, as you can see here. Okay, so these are the tuning nozzles, and the retail price for this is $219 US, and it's available on SIMGOT's website or AliExpress store. I'll leave an unaffiliated link in the description below for you guys to go check it out. Okay, so let's begin. First, let's talk about the accessories that comes with it and what I like about it. What I like is actually the cable. Okay, the cable is really nice. It's thick and it's very premium looking. It feels really premium, and it's also 2-core. It's not like 4-core cable or whatever. It's just 2-core cable, and it's twisted cable, and it's braided, by the way, and it terminates out to two pin connectors, and you know, it's got a normal 3.5 headphone jack, which is really nice. And the cable is not too grippy, it's not too sticky, it doesn't stick to itself, and it's very easy to manage. So I like the cable. In terms of the ear tips, they're fine. Nothing outstanding, but they're fine. They work. They're actually pretty similar to the EA500 ear tips. As you can see, they look pretty similar. So it's a pretty generic ear tip in my books. Okay, and also the case as well is also pretty generic. I've seen this case, so it's a pretty generic accessories if you ask me. But it's the cable that you know, I like very much. Now let's talk about the design and the build quality. Design and build quality is fantastic as usual. If you look at the EA500, they already have this stainless steel look to it, and this mirror look to it, as they applied the same design onto the EA1000 Fermat. Okay, so in terms of the design, is already a very good design. I mean, if the wheel is not broken, why fix it, right? So this is a very good design. It's a very elegant design. It looks very classy, very elegant, and very high-end as well. And it also feels high-end. It doesn't feel cheap, it doesn't feel light at all. It's got good heft to it. So yeah, it's a very nice design and very good build quality as well. As you can see, it's built out of metal. At the same time, the faceplate is built out of, I think it's glass, if I'm not wrong. Feels like glass, but yeah, overall a very nice design and build quality. In terms of fit and comfort, these are actually very comfortable, same as the EA1000 as well. It's all rounded in the corners, as you can see here, and also on the inner shell as well. It's all full of curves, right? And it looks like a nugget. So doesn't give me any pain or any discomfort when I'm wearing these. So very comfortable to wear as well. Okay, right, so let's talk about sound. First, let's talk about drivability. Now these are okay to drive. I've used it with my iPhone, my iPad, my desktop amp as well, my newly acquired FIO K11, and I also tried it with all my dongles as well, and they're pretty easy to drive. I listened to this at about 40% to 50% volume. Yeah, so it's pretty easy to drive. Now in terms of gear matching, I would suggest warm sounding gear that is fun, casual, as rounded. It's got good dynamics that will suit this IEM very well. Gears that are more neutral, a bit more dry, and a bit more lean sounding won't really sound good on this. Okay, but you still can use them. Okay, now let's talk about tone and timbre, and these are warm. They are warm, they are balanced, right? Pretty balanced. It's not really balanced, but it's a little bit above the balance mark in my books. All right, it's got a good mid-bass thump, which gives it a lot of warmth and also fun as well, and also a a lot of fill into the casual category. Okay, so yeah, note weight is heavy, yeah, it's very engaging and very musical as well. Okay, now let's talk about the technical performance for this, and these are actually really good, right? In terms of technical performance, it gives me a lot of dynamics and overall resolution as well. Soundstage of this is pretty, I would say, intimate, right? They are wide to the sides, good air as well, but it's just that it's a little bit intimate. Vocals and instruments and percussions, they sound a little bit closed in, and spacing of it is okay, but it's quite a small soundstage. It's not a very wide soundstage. Okay, but in terms of sound separation and overall imaging, is actually pretty precise. Okay, I can identify where the instruments are, and it's also quite detailed. I wouldn't say it's very detailed because of the tuning. It's got quite a bit of bleed from the mid bass, so it's more for fun listening, right? It's not so much of a detail monster. Now, in terms of resolution, these are really clear. And overall, I would say with the performance of the passive radiator, which actually resonates the bass shelf and gives it a bit more body, overall, it's a very resolving IEM as well. Okay, so that's for technical performance. Now, let's talk about the sound signature of this. And let me just put this one side and bring out my graph. Okay, I've got my graph right here, so I'm not too sure if you can see, but let me just try to rotate. I've got a new case, right? So this is my new case. I'm not too sure if you can see, but yeah, this is my new case. All right, it's a very hardy case. I'm quite clumsy, so I need a case to protect my iPad. Okay, so this is the graph of these EA1000, and if you look at this graph, the bass in terms of the sub bass is actually quite harmonious. It's a little bit below Harmon, but the mid bass is actually very thumpy. It's above the Harmon target. At the same time, it bleeds into the mids, and overall treble is quite of a dark and recessed treble, but with a lot of air. Okay, so this is the part here whereby you see there's a little bit of peak here, which I'll talk about later. So overall, this is more of a casual listen with a recessed mids, okay, and also it's quite a bit of a V shape. It's not a very strong V, but it's more of a casual listen. Okay, now the sub bass actually is not a very prominent sub bass, but it's got good texture, and the texture is because I would say, I mean, this is what I feel, right? Is everyone's listening perception is different, but what I feel is because of the passive radiator, and that gives the rumble a bit more body, a bit more presence, a little bit more oomph. Okay, so I would say the rumble is not a very present rumble, but it's a very good textured and heavy type of rumble. It's very musical as well and very dynamic as well. So rumble is very good, even though it's not a present rumble. Now the mid bass is very thumpy, and the thump has got good full body to it as compared to the EA500, which I'll compare with later. Okay, it's a big difference, a very big difference. So I would say the thump is very present, very impactful, and very textured as well, and it's a very musical thump, right? And because of that, it gives a bit more volume to the bass itself, and the bass shelf I can feel is more 3D, more textured, and more engaging as well. Okay, now in terms of the mids, as you can see, mids are recessed, and so it's also veiled by the mid bass. Mid bass does bleed into the mids, and you know, instruments, percussions, they get a little bit affected by the mid bass, because you know, you're getting more of the impact and the thump, and you know, your focus is on the mid bass, the thump itself, and the impact. So instruments, they come out to me as recessed and a little bit, you know, behind the overall bass shelf. Okay, clarity of it is there, is okay, but I would say, you know, instruments like the pianos, the trumpets and all that, they sound a little bit laid back. Okay, but very good texture as well, and also they sound musical. All right, a very musical presentation to me, not a very lean presentation for instruments. Trumpets and clarinets as well. Clarinets actually sound really airy to me, and also very energetic as well. I'll talk about the treble later, but yeah, clarinets, trumpets, cymbal crashes, they sound very energetic and very present. Not really present, but in a way very energetic. Okay, now for vocals, male vocals, they sound really authoritative, very engaging male vocals as well, and very musical. And when I listen to male vocals, they sound very full to me, and present as well. So male vocals, they sound really good on this. Female vocals, they sound energetic. They have got that sizzle there as well. They've got good energy, very energetic female vocal, but it's just that they sound dark, right? They sound a little bit laid back, and that's because of the treble here, but which is a good thing, right? It does not sound sibilant, right? Female vocals, they are not fatiguing to me. So when I listen to female vocals, they're very pleasant and very easy, very smooth, and I would say safe to listen to in terms of female vocals. So that's a good thing for me. Yeah, so vocals, they both sound really good on this as well, but I would prefer to listen to male vocals on this as compared to female vocals. Okay, now let's talk about the treble. Treble here is a very energetic treble. As you can see, the transition from the mids to the treble is actually a very strong one. It's quite harmonious, and it goes quite deep, or quite far, right, up to about 3K. That's where it starts to dip down. Now the 3K region here is actually a very bitey and a very energetic part, whereby your ears will feel that, I would say, almost harshness from the music that you're listening to. To me, it's not harsh, right? But for some, it may sound a little bit in your face, right? A bit sizzly on the top here. Okay, so just bear in mind with that. But for me, I like that energy, I like that presence, I like that presentation to me, that push into the treble when it comes to my tracks. So it gives me that engagement, and also that so-called energy and that excitement when I'm listening to my music over here. Okay, now in terms of the presence of the treble, the treble is a little bit laid back, it's dark, which is a good thing, as I mentioned. Cymbal crashes, hi-hats, female vocals, electric guitars, clarinets, they sound a little bit dark, and they sound a little bit laid back. Okay, so this is where, you know, it slopes down, so it doesn't feel as fatiguing as some other IEMs. Okay, and especially so the EA500. I mean, the EA500 is already very well tuned, it's not fatiguing, but this is even more smooth. It sounds smoother than the EA500. Okay, so a very dark treble. At the same time, it's a very airy treble. So with this combination, it's a dark and airy treble. That airiness gives that graininess to some of the cymbal crashes and hi-hats. When I listen to even female vocals as well, sometimes I hear that that coarseness in her voice. It's a good and bad thing, right? It's a good and bad thing. The good thing is that you can hear the details. It's very detailed, it's very airy. Okay, the bad thing is that it doesn't sound as natural as I would want it to be. Okay, so it depends on how you look at it, depends on what you look out for when you're listening to your tracks. Okay, so that's the overall sound signature of this EA1000, and overall I would say this is actually a very casual set, a very musical set, and a very dynamic set. And on top of that, it's got this third dimension with the passive radiator, even though the passive radiator doesn't do much, right? It's passive, right? But it does help to resonate the bass. At the same time, it resonates the other frequencies as well in the inner chamber, the sound chamber in here. That gives the sound that is being delivered to your ears, another dimension. It gives a bit more body to the music that you're listening to. It doesn't sound so flat. That's why let's compare with this one later, okay? But that's the reason why I feel that this has got a bit more three-dimensional side to the music that I'm listening to, okay? So for that, this is my rating. I mean, I would give this a 3.5 stars, but I would give it for the price to performance, right? I always think about the price to performance in terms of how affordable is this, and even if it's affordable, is it worth that price? So if it's based on price to performance and based on the price of $219, I would give this a 3 stars out of 5 stars. But if I didn't know the price when I listened to this, I would give this 3.5 stars. Okay, that's my rating for this. And this is actually suitable for mainstream music and casual listening as well. Yeah, most of the genres will fit this. Classical, not so much, but you can listen to jazz and most pop songs, R&B, heavy metal sounds really good on this. Trance sounds really good on this. And yeah, most of the genre which I listen to suits this pretty well. Okay, it's quite balanced. I wouldn't say it's balanced, but it's got a mid-bass boost here. Okay, so that's my review for this EA1000. Now let's compare it with the EA500. Okay, so this is the EA500 and this is $60, right? $60 is less than half the price of this. Now, when I compare these two, there is no comparison at all. Both of these have 10mm dynamic drivers, but the EA1000 has got the extra passive radiator, and to me the EA1000 sounds so much better. The EA500, okay, sounds quite flat, okay, in terms of the overall delivery of the sound and the dynamic delivery of the sound. This one has got more body, it sounds more resolute, and the EA1000 sounds much more clearer as compared to the EA500. Now let's compare the graph. Okay, let me just show you the graph, which is this one right here. Okay, now the EA1000 has got a little bit more bass shelf, and at the same time, on top of that, it's got this passive radiator that gives it that three-dimensional feel to it, a bit more body, a bit more oomph to the bass. And the treble for EA500 is a little bit brighter, a bit more forward. At the same time, also, I wouldn't say this is sibilant. It's not sibilant, but it's a bit more fatiguing as compared to the EA1000. Okay, but overall listening, this is nothing. The EA500 is nothing. It's nowhere near the EA1000 when it comes to overall delivery of the sound. And when I listen to my tracks, right, both on the same track, I enjoyed listening to my music better, so much better on the EA1000 as compared to the EA500. Okay, so that's my overall comparison with the EA500, and also that concludes my overall thoughts and opinions about this EA1000, and that's it for now. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video, and if you did, please give this video a thumbs up, and also please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. So that's it for now. I hope you guys have a great day ahead, and I'll see you again in my next video. Cheers.